And of course, we'll keep a close track of what happens in the assembly. Moving on now, a resto bar inside a bus terminal. Well, it sounds like an international bus terminal, right? But you're mistaken here. The visuals on your screen that are coming in now are from a bus terminal constructed by the government back in 2020. This is here in Karnataka, in Bengaluru. Now, where the story goes off the rails is where the the Bengaluru Metropolitan Road Transportation Corporation here has put out a tender for the commercial space inside the bus terminal, which somewhere mysteriously enough had only one applicant here. That is BJP MLA Uday Garudachar. The Garuda groups constructed a workspace here and even a restaurant bar in the commercial space inside the bus terminal. But according to the Transport Department rules, the bus stands are for the use of passengers. There are, of course, Nandini milk booths that we see, medical shops, hotels as well are allowed to run their businesses inside the bus stand. And the shops, of course, at the bus stand are strictly prohibited to sell tobacco or cigarettes, gutka, even liquor. The BJP MLA in question, however, claims that the excise department had issued a commercial license and denies any illegality on his part. Now, to, of course, track these details of the story, we confronted Mr. Uday Garudachar, the BJP MLA. We also spoke to several other people who are connected to this particular issue. First, let's listen in to these reactions.
So please tell us on this. In BTM layout, when you were Congress MLA for BTM layout, during that time you have constructed a BMTC bus stand in a government property. And now, who has given a permission to construct a bar and restaurants?
See, this is an old bus stand. 25-30 years back, the bus stand was constructed when I was transport minister in 2016 or 17. We have reconstructed that bus stand. We laid foundation stone, but the building completed in 2021. After completion of the bus stand, BMTC called a tender for commercial purpose. We have a lot of TTMCs in Bangalore. We have a lot of bus stands in an entire state. More than 200, 300 bus stands and TTMCs we have in Karnataka. Anywhere commercial activities are there, but they have not given, nobody opened bar or wine shop. But Maverick company has submitted for a bar. For commercial activity, that is okay, but they should not have given for bar or a wine shop. This is very unfair.
I have gone through the agreement in between both the parties. The agreement says very specifically it is given only other than the bar or restaurant. And they also mention the explosives should not also been taking place. Well, that is the case. When it is not appeared in the agreement, it will become a null and void. They should not continue. The excise department should have the right to seal the bar if they don't possess any legal document. The excise department is having they can extend up to they seize the bar without any permission, because the agreement and the place and everything shows that it is not meant for the bar.
We have taken a commercial license. See, BMTC has given the organization that you will get a commercial license and you can operate that particular place.
Sir, but you have got commercial license, but did you get bar license?
Ma'am, commercial license only entitles to get a bar license. See, if it is not a commercial space, you will not get a bar license. Am I clear? So, since it has been given to us by the BMTC, to us means to the organization, they have given it to BMTC as a commercial activity, for commercial activity. That is the reason why they have done it. It is in accordance with law. However, I have always told the Honorable Minister that if there is any problem, any shortcoming, anything that brings any problems to the Honorable Minister, I am the first person to ensure that this shall be removed.
Well, interesting response that's coming in from Mr. Uday Garudachar. There says that, well, it is in accordance to law. Then he goes on to say if there is any issue, then, they can actually approach him pertaining to that. Let's, in fact, open this up. We have a panel of guests joining us. Namit Saxena, advocate from the Supreme Court, with us. Shatabi Shivanna, spokesperson from the Congress. B.S. Arun, senior journalist, is also with us. Now, let's get the advocate in. And of course, Satabish too is an advocate. But since he's from the Congress, let me get Namit in first. Mr. Saxena, if you could tell us at this point in time, the legislator here, of course, during 2020, when this came up, it was the BJP that was there. The tender was floated. He's the one who gets hold of it. He says he was one of the highest bidders then. But overall, at the bus station, opening up of a bar, is this something that is permitted under law?
See, as Mr. Garudachar pointed out, a commercial license leads to a bar license. But something which he misses out is that bar license is to be taken separately as well, is one. Second, every tender document, once there is an entry route, the same tender document gives an exit route also, which is to be followed as per the due process in accordance with the tender law. Now, in this case, if there is violation of the tender itself, if there is a breach of the tender conditions or general terms and conditions, specific terms and conditions, whatever the case may be, then BMTC is empowered under the same tender document, which is, the sort of the agreement between the parties, to cancel or to take steps in accordance with the tender document itself. Now in this case, but see, the thing is that due process of law is to be followed. It can't be that on mere apprehensions or on mere reports something can be done. The tender document, generally what they do is there is to be a spot inspection which is to be done by BMT officials. Then there has to be a report made. Then there has to be a hearing of the other side of of the organization which has built it or the tender allottee. Then after that hearing, they'll take decision in accordance with the tender documents. They are free to do it. In case there is violation, then there are remedies available to that firm also. They can challenge it. They can take steps in accordance with law. But broadly, what it seems today is that these are mere accusations. So there is something more which is to be done, and there has to be a thorough report on under what C1, because one of the allegations is that he was the sole bidder or the sole tenderer. Something like this. Perhaps he was the highest bidder. So in case there is an allegation that this tender was tailor-made to suit requirements of only one entity or one company, then this again requires some consideration by BMTC. So at this stage, there is a lot which is to be done, which will, in my opinion, start from spot inspection by the BMT officials as to what is the actual ground reality, to checking of the licenses, etc. There are a lot of requirements which are to be done in accordance with the tender documents. The tender documents is to be honored. Nobody can exceed, the limit BMTC or the other party beyond the tender document. This is what the law primarily says.
Okay, let's bring in the Congress spokesperson here. Shatabish, if you could tell us, as we heard the Transport Minister, he's pretty clear. He says that this is something that's not right and we will look into it. Now, how does the Congress really look at this entire issue? Because Mr. Uday Garudachar says he's open to, any response that comes in from the, concerned ministers.
Firstly, I extend my utmost appreciation to Mirror Now and its entire team for magnifying an issue that is so crucial and critical and especially pertains to public health and safety. And Deepak, bus stops are more than just transit points. They are public spaces bringing together people from various walks of life. And introducing a liquor bar not only muddies the purpose of such a place, but also brings into question the moral responsibilities that we have towards the society. It implies that we are prioritizing commercial interests over societal welfare. Now, I make a direct allegation against the entities and individuals who are behind this entire fiasco. It is their abuse of process of law. It is their abuse of power. It is their high-handedness and arbitrariness and with a flagrant disregard to the provisions of law that govern this country that we are facing a situation like this. And what I find the most ridiculous is the statement of Mr. Uday Garudachar himself. He justifies by saying that a prerequisite for obtaining a liquor license is that you should have a commercial establishment. Now, I agree with him, but merely because you have a commercial establishment, does that entitle you to open a liquor store wherever it pleases you? Can you open a liquor store within the ambit of a hospital or within the ambit of an educational institution merely because a certain portion of it is earmarked as commercial? Absolutely not. It only takes a man with a prudent mind to realize that inducing or introducing such an establishment in a public place is a threat to public disturbance. It has a potential of law and order situation, and it induces fear and insecurity amongst women, children, and vulnerable sections of the society. Especially at a time when the Shakti scheme is blossoming so well.
Let me get in a quick word from Mr. Arun as well. Shatabish, you made quite a few interesting points there. I'll take this across to Mr. Arun, Shatabish. Because I'd like to ask Mr. Arun, how do you really view this? Because this is a modernized, bus stand that we are looking at. Do you really feel concerns of safety arise when you have a resto bar here? How do you really view this?
Deepak, a couple of things. It would have been good if you had got a BJP spokesperson or the then transport minister of the BJP government here, because it looks like it was during the BJP time when this, the issue happened, when the permission was given. Secondly, as far as I know,
unfortunately, Mr. Arun, there are many topics where many of the political spokespersons do not want to comment.
Yeah, I think it's quite understood why they don't want to comment. Having said that, the second thing, Deepak, is that as far as I know, these kind of these gudka shops or the wine shops cannot be opened in a certain distance of the schools or temples or mosques. The shrines or public places like bus stand or the railway stations. So when that is the case, how this was allowed to open? But then looks like that, a lacuna in the law, like the warrior himself mentioned, that a commercial license, you can use a commercial license to open a bar. I think that's what has happened here. But now it remains to be seen how the current government goes ahead.
Well, Mr. Arun, the question here is, if anybody else, if not a legislator, if anybody else went ahead and did the same thing, would that be allowed to continue for such a long time? Because even if it was somewhere a lacuna in the law that you're finding your way through, you can't have, because you got a commercial license, just next to a school, does it mean you will go ahead and open a bar there? That's the predominant issue. Deepak,
frankly, I don't know how many people are aware of this, because I was not aware until you, your channel opened this up for public debate. I think the state government must take immediate note of this. I think since the Transport Minister has already made a statement on your channel, I think they will take this up. It remains to be seen what they're going to do. How fast, or how whether they will take a legal route or whether they will take administrative route to ensure a logical end to this entire issue. Mr. Garudachar has already stated to your channel that he is open to take the next step of even, I think, closing down the bar. I think that's what I understood by his statement. So I think all channels are open, I feel. I think it's up to the state government now to take a final call on this.
Right. A quick question once again to Shatabish there. Shatabish, because we've already heard the Transport Minister say that he's going to look into this. What's the next plan of action going to be? Because as far as the MLA is concerned, he too is saying he's open to any sort of suggestions that come in from the ministers. Because he says he's not broken any law, but if he has, he's willing to rectify it.
No, Deepak, I make a strong and vehement allegation against Mr. Uday Garudachar and every other entity that's behind this. Because it's not about what corrective measures they take now. It's about how they've abused their power, how they've abused the process of law to even get to this position in the first place. And I appreciate the swift and speedy action taken by Mr. Ramlinga Reddy, especially after channels like yours magnified the entire issue. They have issued a notice, and I'm very certain, and I assure you, that we will nip this issue at the bud. This will no longer continue. This is the final end to this. I'm certain.
Right, Shatabish, thank you there for joining us on this broadcast. We also have thank Mr. Saxena and Mr. Arun. While, of course, we continue to keep track of all the developments, my colleague Toya, of course, bringing this story for us here on Mirror Now. We will keep a close watch on the developments that take place. And now moving on, we have